There is something sitting in your refrigerator right now that could be quietly accelerating memory loss. You bought it because you were trying to be healthy. You may have been eating it for years, feeling genuinely good about that choice. And nobody, not your doctor, not the label on the package, ever stopped to tell you what it was doing inside your aging brain. Here is what makes this so difficult to accept. These are not junk foods. They look like the right choice. They are marketed as the right choice. But for anyone over 60, certain fruits trigger a biological cascade that directly damages the memory centers of your brain. And the 5 most dangerous ones are the very ones most older adults eat every single week. Meanwhile, 5 other fruits contain specific compounds that cross into brain tissue, reduce inflammation, and have been shown in published research to measurably slow cognitive decline. The difference between these two groups is not small. We are talking about the difference between maintaining your independence and gradually losing it. In the next 14 minutes, I am going to show you exactly which 5 fruits are working against your brain right now, the biological mechanism behind each one, and which 5 fruits can actively protect your memory going forward. After more than 2 decades working with older adults on cognitive health, this is one of the most important conversations I have had. I want you to hear it before the damage goes any further. Before we go any further, drop a comment right now with just your age, nothing else. I want to see who is watching because the impact of these fruits is genuinely different depending on whether you are 62, 72, or 82. And if you have noticed any of the following in the last 6 months, forgetting words mid-sentence, struggling to follow conversations, or feeling mentally foggy after meals, add the word foggy to your comment. That detail matters and you'll understand exactly why in about 3 minutes. Here is a scene that happens every single day. A 71-year-old woman sits down for breakfast. She pours a glass of orange juice. She adds a bowl of mixed dried fruit and granola. She feels good about this. She is eating fruit. Her doctor told her to eat more fruit, and this is exactly what she did. By mid-morning, her blood sugar has spiked and crashed. She cannot concentrate. She feels mentally slow. She assumes it is just age. She never connects it to breakfast. 6 months later, she mentions to her doctor that her memory has been a little off. The doctor says it is to be expected at her age and moves on. The breakfast never comes up. This scenario plays out thousands of times every single day, and it is entirely preventable. Recent research on the connection between dietary sugar patterns and hippocampal volume in adults over 60 should have changed how we counsel patients about fruit. But most practitioners are still working from guidelines that do not distinguish between eating a handful of blueberries and drinking a glass of mango juice. Those are not the same thing. The gap between what the evidence shows and what older adults are being told is costing people their cognitive function. That is the gap I am trying to close today. Now, if you are someone who values understanding the why behind the numbers, not just being told what to do, what I am about to explain will give you a completely different framework for thinking about fruit and your brain. Your brain after 60 is not simply an older version of your brain at 40. 3 fundamental changes have occurred that make certain fruits genuinely dangerous in ways they were not before. First, insulin sensitivity in the brain declines with age. Your neurons rely on insulin signaling to absorb glucose for energy. When you repeatedly deliver high sugar foods, brain cells develop insulin resistance. Energy delivery becomes unreliable. Think of it like a fuel line that has partially clogged. The tank is full, but the engine cannot draw what it needs. Second, the blood-brain barrier becomes more permeable after 60. This protective filter normally keeps inflammatory molecules away from neural tissue. Azotlucins, inflammatory compounds triggered by sugar spikes, can reach the hippocampus, the region responsible for forming new memories, and begin causing structural damage that accumulates silently over months and years. Third, the brain's overnight waste clearance system slows down. When blood sugar is chronically elevated, this system removes toxic proteins less efficiently. They accumulate between neurons rather than being flushed away. This is one of the documented pathways toward the plaques associated with cognitive decline. These are not small differences. They are fundamental biological changes that demand a completely different approach. And yet the dietary advice most older adults receive was written without adequately accounting for any of them. The first dangerous fruit is canned fruit cocktail in heavy syrup. And this one is hiding behind the most convincing disguise in the grocery store. You see the little cups of fruit on the shelf, peaches, pears, cherries, all neatly packaged. The label says fruit. It feels like the healthy choice. You have been doing this for months. Millions of people do exactly this. And here's what almost none of them have ever been told. Most canned fruit products sit in heavy syrup made from high fructose corn syrup or concentrated juice. A single small cup delivers a direct hit of refined sugar with almost no fiber to slow it down. Think of high fructose corn syrup as a fast-burning accelerant poured onto your brain's inflammatory system. Unlike glucose, excess fructose generates inflammatory byproducts that travel through the bloodstream and reach the brain. When this happens repeatedly, the result is chronic low-grade inflammation targeting the hippocampus, the region that forms and stores new memories. In a 2019 study published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience, researchers followed 2,874 adults over age 65. For 4 years, those who regularly consumed high fructose food products showed a 31% greater decline in hippocampal volume. When the hippocampus physically shrinks, your ability to retain new information shrinks with it. Be completely honest with yourself right now. How many times this week did you eat canned fruit from a cup or can? Comment that number below. That number reflects exactly how much unnecessary inflammatory load your brain has been absorbing. The fix: check every canned fruit product in your home today. If the ingredient list includes syrup, high fructose corn syrup, or concentrated juice, remove it, replace it with fresh or frozen fruit, one ingredient on the label. The second dangerous fruit will surprise you precisely because it has been considered a health symbol for generations. Fruit juice, even the freshly squeezed kind. A standard glass of orange juice delivers the equivalent sugar load of 4 whole oranges in under 2 minutes. No fiber, no chewing, no delay. All of that fructose and glucose floods your bloodstream simultaneously. The process that follows is called glycation. Excess sugar molecules circulate like microscopic burrs, binding to proteins wherever they land and forming compounds that damage neurons and the blood vessels feeding them. Think of it like rust forming on precision machinery, invisible, cumulative, and structural. In a 2020 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, researchers followed 19,248 adults over age 60 for 7 years. Daily fruit juice consumers showed a 23% greater rate of hippocampal shrinkage compared to those who ate whole fruit instead. The effect was dose dependent. The more juice consumed, the greater the brain volume loss. Thomas, 74, had drunk 2 large glasses of juice every morning for 30 years. He came in describing increasing word-finding difficulty. We removed the juice and replaced it with 2 whole pieces of fruit. Within 3 months, his wife told me he seemed more like himself, sharper in conversation, less likely to lose his train of thought. The fix: stop drinking fruit juice entirely. All juice, including freshly squeezed. Eat the whole fruit instead. Every nutrient is still there, plus the fiber that protects your brain, 0 glycation damage. The next dangerous fruit carries a deceptive reputation as nature's healthy candy. The mathematics behind why it harms your brain is impossible to argue with once you see it. Dried fruits, raisins, dates, dried mango strips, dried apricots. Drying fruit removes water. That is all it does. Every gram of sugar stays behind, compressed into a fraction of the original size. A single handful of raisins delivers as much sugar as a standard candy bar. 6 medjool dates contain more sugar than a glazed donut. And because dried fruit is so easy to eat mindlessly, most people consume 4 to 6 times what they intend to. Think of your brain's blood vessels as irrigation pipes. When clean, everything is delivered efficiently. When thick with dissolved sugar, the pipes gradually narrow. Nutrient delivery slows. The neurons at the ends of those pipes, your memory centers, are the first to feel the shortage. In a 2021 study published in the Journal of Nutritional Neuroscience, researchers tracked 3,116 adults over age 65 for 5 years. Those who consumed dried fruit daily as a snack showed a 27% higher incidence of mild cognitive impairment compared to those who ate equivalent amounts of fresh fruit. The fix: remove dried fruit from your pantry entirely. Replace raisins with fresh grapes, dates with a small square of dark chocolate, dried apricots with 2 fresh ones. The nutrients are identical. The sugar impact is completely different. 0 vascular inflammation. Very sweet tropical fruits eaten in excess: mango, pineapple, papaya. A large ripe mango contains over 45 grams of sugar, more than a standard can of cola. For someone over 60 with any degree of insulin resistance, which affects roughly 40% of adults this age without a formal diagnosis, that load hits the bloodstream within 20 minutes on an empty stomach. The resulting spike and crash impairs brain function for hours afterward. Think of your pancreas as a pump designed to operate within a specific pressure range. Every massive sugar spike forces it beyond that range. Over years, the response wears down. Meanwhile, the surges expose your brain neurons to repeated glucose toxicity, physically damaging neural structures over time. In a 2022 study published in Nutrients, Researchers followed 4,407 adults over age 60 for 8 years. Those in the highest quartile of daily fruit sugar consumption, primarily from tropical fruits, showed cognitive decline scores 34% worse than those who focused on low glycemic varieties. The fix: treat tropical fruits as an occasional pleasure, 2 to 3 times per week at most. 1/4 of a mango as part of a meal paired with protein or healthy fat. Never a whole mango on an empty stomach. The most dangerous item on this entire list is processed fruit snack products. Fruit chips, fruit crisp, fruit leather, banana chips, and this one carries not one but 2 completely separate chemical dangers happening at the exact same time. The packaging shows a photograph of a real apple. The label says baked, natural. You compare it to potato chips and conclude this is the obviously better choice. Millions of people do exactly this. And here is what almost none of them have ever been told. Most commercially produced fruit chips are deep fried in industrial vegetable oils, palm oil, refined sunflower oil, then coated in added sugar or concentrated juice. All protective fiber has been removed. What you are consuming is concentrated fruit sugar combined with oxidized fat. Those two elements together create a double assault on your aging brain. The sugar spikes blood glucose and worsens insulin resistance. The oils exposed to high heat during frying break down into unstable compounds called aldehydes that cross into brain tissue and disrupt the structural integrity of neural cell membranes, promoting the accumulation of amyloid proteins associated with cognitive decline. Think of the healthy fat in your brain cells as a smooth, flexible membrane. Oxidized fat is like acid etching the surface, gradual, invisible, and structurally permanent. In a 2023 study published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease, researchers followed 5,889 older adults for 6 years. Those who consumed fried snack foods, including fruit-based fried products, 4 or more times per week had a 41% higher risk of developing clinically significant cognitive impairment. Sandra, 69, had replaced her cookie habit with a daily bag of apple chips. Convinced she had made a discipline improvement, she came in reporting declining mental stamina and difficulty with complex tasks at home. When we removed the processed fruit snacks and replaced them with fresh fruit and raw nuts, her cognitive stamina improved within weeks. The fix: turn every processed fruit snack package over and read the ingredients. If you see any oil, put it back. If you see added sugar or juice concentrate alongside fruit, put it back. A genuinely brain-healthy snack has one ingredient, the fruit itself. Now that you know what to remove, let me show you what to add, because the 5 protective fruits I am about to describe do not simply avoid harm. They actively support repair. Protective fruit number 5 is blueberries. These small berries contain anthocyanins, pigment compounds with a rare ability to cross the blood-brain barrier and act directly on neural tissue. Once inside the brain, they reduce inflammation at the site of neural activity, improve communication efficiency between neurons, and stimulate the formation of new neural connections in the hippocampus. In a 2020 study published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience, 3,524 adults over age 65 followed for 5 years showed a 39% lower rate of hippocampal shrinkage among regular blueberry consumers. A 2021 randomized controlled trial in nutrients found adults who consumed 1 cup of blueberries daily for 12 weeks showed significant improvements in recall speed and working memory scores. The dose, 1/2 to 1 cup daily, fresh or frozen, both work equally well. Frozen blueberries picked at peak ripeness often carry higher anthocyanin concentrations than fresh varieties that spent days in transit. Protective fruit number 4 is pomegranate. Your brain uses 20% of your body's total oxygen and nutrient supply while representing only 2% of your body weight. As you age, the vessels delivering those resources stiffen. Pomegranate contains compounds called punicalagins that promote nitric oxide release in blood vessel walls, causing them to relax and widen. More dilation means more oxygen reaching your memory centers. In a 2022 study published in the British Journal of Nutrition, 2,891 adults over age 60 followed for 4 years showed a 28% improvement in cerebral blood flow velocity and measurably better performance on word recall tasks among regular pomegranate consumers. The dose, the seeds of 1/4 to 1/2 a pomegranate 3 to 5 times per week. Eat the seeds, not juice. They deliver the full benefit plus fiber that moderates sugar absorption. Protective fruit number 3 is the apple eaten with the skin on. The skin of an apple contains a flavonoid called quercetin, a neuroprotective compound that stabilizes neuron cell membranes and inhibits the breakdown of acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter most directly linked to memory. Without the skin, the primary brain protective benefit is lost. The fiber in whole apples also feeds beneficial gut bacteria that produce compounds shown to reduce systemic inflammation reaching the brain. brain. In a 2021 study published in Age and Aging, 5,208 adults over age 65, followed for 6 years, showed a 22% slower rate of cognitive decline among those who ate one or more whole apples daily with skin intact. The dose, 1 apple per day with the skin on, wash gently, never peel it. Protective fruit number 2 is kiwi. This small fruit contains more vitamin C per serving than oranges, plus meaningful amounts of vitamin E, folate, and potassium. 4 nutrients that work together to protect neural tissue, support neurotransmitter production, and regulate the electrical signals that allow neurons to fire accurately. Critically, kiwi has a low glycemic index despite its sweet taste, delivering broad antioxidant protection without the blood sugar spike that undermines higher sugar fruits. In a 2020 study published in the Journal of Nutritional Science, 1,374 adults over age 60 who consumed 2 kiwi fruits daily for 16 weeks showed a 19% improvement on sustained attention tests and meaningfully less afternoon mental fatigue compared to a control group. The dose, 2 kiwi fruits per day at room temperature. Scoop them from the halved fruit. The flesh closest to the skin carries the highest antioxidant concentration. And protective fruit number 1 is avocado. Most people do not think of it as a fruit. Botanically, it is. And for the aging brain, it may be the most valuable food in the entire produce section. Unlike every other fruit on this list, avocado contains almost no sugar. It is built on monounsaturated fatty acids, the structural building material of healthy neuromembranes. Your brain is roughly 60% fat by dry weight. When those membranes are built from flexible, healthy fats, neurons communicate faster and more reliably. When they are built from oxidized or inflammatory fats, the kind found in the processed snacks we discussed, communication degrades. Avocado also contains lutein, a carotenoid that concentrates specifically in brain tissue and is consistently associated with better performance on memory, processing speed, and executive function. In older adults, and the fats in avocado increase the absorption of fat-soluble nutrients from every other food eaten alongside it by up to 300%. Eating avocado with blueberries, pomegranate seeds, or apple multiplies the brain protective impact of the entire meal. In a 2022 study published in Nutrients, 2,615 adults over age 60 followed for 3 years showed a 26% lower rate of measurable cognitive decline and a 31% better score on verbal memory assessments among those who consumed half an avocado or more daily. The dose, half an avocado every day. Add it to any meal. This single habit improves the absorption of everything around it. If you have been eating some of these dangerous fruits for years, the juices, the dried fruits, the canned products, I want you to hear something before you close this video. It is not your fault. Nobody explained this to you. The food industry spent decades telling you that more fruit meant better health, full stop. The nuance about which fruits, in what form, and how they interact with the aging brain was not in any brochure. It was not coming up in routine appointments. Here is what you now understand that most people around you, including many well-meaning healthcare providers, have not fully integrated. You understand that the brain over 60 responds to sugar fundamentally differently than the brain at 40. You understand that food form matters as much as food type, that a whole orange and a glass of orange juice are metabolically different experiences for your brain. You understand that chronic low-grade inflammation driven by daily dietary choices is one of the most powerful and modifiable drivers of cognitive decline. And you understand that specific compounds in specific fruits, anthocyanins in blueberries, punicolagens in pomegranate, quercetin in apple skin, monounsaturated fats, and lutein in avocado can enter brain tissue and actively support the structures responsible for memory. You are no longer a passive recipient of general dietary advice. You are an informed person who can read a label, distinguish a protective food from a harmful one, and make choices that reflect your actual biology. That is not a small thing. That is everything, especially when the stakes are your memory, your independence, and your ability to recognize the people you love. Let me give you specific steps you can take starting tonight. First, open your refrigerator and pantry right now. Remove any canned fruit and syrup, any fruit juice, any dried fruit, and any packaged fruit chip products. Do not wait for them to run out. Remove them today. Second, on your next grocery trip, buy 1 bag of frozen blueberries, 1 pomegranate, 4 to 6 apples, 4 to 6 kiwi fruits, and 3 to 4 ripe avocados. This is your brain protective fruit foundation for the week. Third, replace your morning juice with 1 whole piece of fruit eaten alongside a source of of protein or healthy fat to stabilize blood sugar from the start of the day. Fourth, add half an avocado to one meal per day every day. This single habit improves the absorption of protective compounds from everything else you eat alongside it. Fifth, keep a 2-week log of your fruit choices. Note what you ate and whether you notice changes in afternoon mental clarity, word recall, or cognitive energy. Your own record will show you what your body is actually responding to. And finally, have an informed conversation with your doctor, not just a checkup, a real conversation. Bring your questions, ask specifically, given my age and current metabolic health, which foods in my current diet could be contributing to cognitive inflammation. You deserve a doctor who treats you as a thinking adult who wants to understand the reasoning, not just follow instructions. Drop a comment right now saying protected. If this gave you something real today, if it clarified something you had been wondering about or gave you confidence to make a different choice tonight, I want to see that word in the comments. Now think of one specific person you love. A parent, a sibling, a close friend, someone who drinks juice every morning or keeps dried fruit on the counter because they believe they are being healthy. Send them this video right now, not later. Right now, that single action might genuinely change the trajectory of their brain health. Subscribe to this channel. My mission is to bring you research-grounded health information that most people only encounter after something has already gone wrong. You deserve to know it before that happens. In my next video, I am going to talk about 6 daily habits that accelerate cognitive decline after 60 that have nothing to do with what you eat. One of them is something most people consider actively healthy, and the research genuinely surprised me after all my years in this field. You will not want to miss it. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended as medical advice. Dietary changes for cognitive health should be discussed with your healthcare provider, particularly if you have diabetes, prediabetes, or any existing neurological condition. The information presented reflects current published research, but should not replace a thorough evaluation by a qualified medical professional.